This is Marketing Jam, a podcast featuring the brightest minds in Canadian marketing.
Welcome back to Marketing Jam. I'm Shaheed, and I'm sitting next to Karm Sumal, who is one of the co-founders of Daily Hive, which was founded as Vancity Buzz, right? And if you probably know what Vancity Buzz and Daily Hive is by now, but how would you explain it in your own words these days? It's evolved over time, right?
Yeah, we're no longer just like in Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's a given. I mean, the name Vancity Buzz resonates well with people like it locally.
Yeah.
I still see people calling it that.
Yeah.
But when we made that leap into other markets, we're like, okay, we need to change everything up. If
Absolutely.
we're really going to grow this business and we want to grow it, then let's, kind of like rip the Band-Aid off and let's just go with it and
Right.
see what happens. It was, we had all the brand equity built up with Vancity Buzz, so it was kind of, a lot of people think it's counterintuitive to kind of just throw that out almost, but we kind of like massaged it into, we're still Vancity Buzz.
Do they still feel like that? I mean, I feel like that's probably forgotten by this point now that...
Yeah, for the most part,
Yeah.
I think now a lot of people, and it's good that people don't, like, some people know that Vancity Buzz is now Daily Hive, and some people are like, oh, what's Vancity Buzz? I know
Yeah,
Daily Hive.
and that's
though.
a good thing.
And that's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Good.
Because we've been growing all along, so there are people that never heard of Vancity Buzz.
Yeah.
They now know Daily Hive, so
Right.
we'll take that.
Perfect, yeah. So Daily Hive is an online publication. What would you say the core of your business is these days?
At the core of the business is content.
It's content.
Obviously, whether it's written, photo, video, but it's still content. Delivering content that is primarily localized to whatever city we're located in. So that would be the core.
Yeah, and that's a concept that has been happening for so long with newspapers and TV news and even online stuff. But for some reason, and I'd be curious to know what the reason is in your mind. You guys have been able to gain a foothold in this type of business, even though it's existed for so long. Why do you think it is?
I think we brought a fresh take to it a little bit. We also targeted an audience that was primarily neglected by traditional media, whether it be radio, print, news like TV news. That the audience for them always kind of skewed a little older, 45 plus. And I think also the news as a whole, like it's a function of who's in your organization, right? And you tell the news from that lens. So if you have a lot of older individuals, homogenous in terms of ethnicity, light way to say a lot of white people, right? Your lens and your frame of thinking is going to be just that, right? If you were to come into our newsroom, you would look at it and it's like, yo, Vancouver is represented in our newsroom, whether it's from the marketing side, the sales side, or the editorial side. It's a mix of individuals, and not just ethnicity, but gender, like, sexual preference, everything. We try to, because they know it best, right? So I think that was missing, and I felt that. Like as I was reading the news, I was like, man, this is why, like this doesn't resonate with me anymore. Like, I want to know what the weather is. I don't want to know what the Canucks did. But I don't need my local media to tell me that. I can go to the Weather Channel to check the news, and this was like 10 years ago, but now I can get it on an app. And like sports, I would just go to sports, like TSN or Sportsnet. So why would I go on to something like that? So we kind of filtered it in and we saw this gap that was missing, and it was really targeting the 18 to 35-year-old crowd. That crowd, that cultural identity and makeup of a city that was just lacking, we felt. We kind of saw that and we kind of ran with that.
Yeah, and that was, it's interesting to hear you to use the word newsroom, because initially you guys started as a blog, it was three of you right in a basement. And, you targeted that specific audience that you're talking about, but it has turned into something very different, and that audience that you're talking about from traditional news is now your audience too.
Yeah.
Right? And so why do you think that's happened? Like, why do you think they've become a part of what you're doing? And I guess how and when did it change for you?
It changed in a sense that we grew an audience on all the other stuff, whether it's food, things to do in your city, movers and shakers within the demographic we're going after, cultural stuff. But we looked at it and we're like, okay, we need more. And so we're like, well, how do we do that? Well, let's just start covering the news.
Yeah.
But let's cover it to the news that we kind of can cover. You're not gonna see us going in doing in-depth exposés or some undercover crazy shit. We're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
But I'd argue most traditional outlets barely do that now too, right?
That's absolutely true.
Right? So everybody's kind of just doing this like almost like brain dead news where a press release comes and you just push it out. And if you learn how the news world works, everybody's just sitting in front of a screen waiting for a press release. Whether it's from the VPD, the West Vancouver Police Department, whoever, they're waiting for that, and then they react. It's like, well, fuck, I can do that. You know, like what? Just because you went to journal, like, I'm not investigative reporting, and we don't do that. I mean, not to the level that true investigative journalism can do. So I was like, we can take a slice of this and now grow our audience, and that's what we did. We saw that, and we were able to double our audience. Because day to day, so much is going on. And before we were not talking about it. We started snipping and like trying it and testing it, and we're like, people are reading us for regular news. And I never thought they would, but they did. So we're like, well, why not give them a little bit more? But still hold on to and maintain the core of what we build, and then just kind of lay it on top and keep evolving what we are. That's, I think, the one thing we've never done. We never allowed ourselves to be just pigeonholed, like internally. Like I know externally, a lot of people are like, oh, I loved it when you just talked about what's going on. I don't want news from you. I was okay, that's fine, but a lot of people do want news from us, so we're gonna give it, right? I think that's where we kind of made that leap where people were clicking on it.
Yeah, and I mean, what you've done recently in terms of Dish and Urbanized, this is a way for people to get exactly what they want and not maybe necessarily have to look at other things.
Exactly.
Do you see that going more in that direction where the content is more tailored and specific to what people want to see, as opposed to what's just put out there?
Yeah, I think like there's a lot of people, like I said, if they don't want us for news, but they still love our food content, they love our real estate content, and like civic issues and transportation, whatever, sure, then if you love our food content, we got Dish for you. Go for it. Just follow that page. You'll never get any news stuff on that. And if you love real estate, transportation, civic issues, city hall kind of debates, Urbanized is for you. Boom. You don't have to follow our news. You don't have to get any of the other stuff if you don't want it that way, right? And we've seen that that's actually helped us in kind of grow our audience and kind of make it a little bit more of increase the loyalty to certain channels, whether it be Dish, Urbanized. We've launched a cannabis channel, Grow. We started cultivating like a new audience through that. It's just layering on these things so that we don't just stagnate, and fight for every click.
So content is the core of your business, but it kind of is one part of it. It enables so many other things. So one other side of it is bringing in other partners, right? And advertisers are one of those partners, and I guess agencies like Jelly working with you guys is another place where you guys do business. So maybe tell me a little bit about how you guys tread that line of I guess monetizing the content that you are putting out there, because at the end of the day you still want to serve the audience and produce content that they want to see.
At the end of the day, you got to make money or you're not going to be in business, right? So, and I think readers, even deep down, even the ones that don't like advertising, understand that. I mean, if you don't understand that, we're not funded by taxpayer money. We're not the CBC. So ain't nobody giving me money, So I have to sell advertising, whether it's custom content, native content, sponsored video, sponsored ads, homepage takeovers, whatever. We have to sell something in order to pay people and keep our 56 employees employed and grow the business, and
you find that people they're understanding of that at this point.
I think when you go on Facebook comments and people are like, oh, sponsored real estate ad, knew it, Daily Hive sold out. I'm like, really? Have we sold out? Like, you go and if you click on like the most left-wing media in Vancouver is the Georgia Straight. They're funded by real estate development ads. The hypocrisy of that is insane. I've always loved real estate, and I hate that shit's expensive. But if a developer wants to tell me that they have a new project, there's an audience that we have that probably can afford it. Now, I may not be even able to afford what we're pitching, but who's to say? Like, as long as other people are clicking it and the developer and our client is happy, we've served that portion. People come to us for real estate. A lot of it's not our fault that it's expensive. But I'm not gonna say I'm not a hypocrite. I know we love real estate. We talk about it passionately, and I actually think there should be more development.
That's
right? So if a developer comes to me, it almost makes sense. Whereas like you see other papers doing it, you're like, you say you're this, but then you're actually not from the money you're taking. Let's just be real, right?
Yeah.
Like we're real. Well, I take money from advertisers.
Yeah.
How else am I going to pay for the business and the staff?
Yeah.
Right? But we do have to be picky and choosy as to who we associate with ourselves with, right? Like, because we do need to know our audience and not, pitch something that's so left field that nobody likes it. Right. But as long as, there's a chunk of our audience that will appreciate this, it's there. If you don't like it, scroll up, man. It's not hard.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You don't have to click it. You don't have to click it, and you can just scroll up.
Yeah.
Right? You shouldn't. Like, why would that affect? Like, I just don't get the mindset of someone getting so offended by something like that.
Yeah,
it just makes, to me, it doesn't make sense because Vice is selling mortgages through BMO.
Yeah.
They do it the Vice way, but they're still selling a fucking mortgage.
Right. Yeah.
But this is Vice.
Yeah. It's supposed to be
anti-corporate
exactly.
corporation. But they're a corporation now. They're funded by, I think, who is it? Rupert Murdoch has a stake in it.
Right.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So everybody does it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're here at CIMC 2018, and you were talking about influencer marketing. Tell me a little bit about how that, I guess, comes to be in the Daily Hive offices, and what you see sort of the future of that being. I mean, it's only become popular in the last year or so, and is there room for it to grow, or is it going to be one of those fads that kind of passes quickly?
I think influencer marketing, I know a lot of people, they kind of laugh at it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because it's so flooded.
Yeah.
Everybody and their mom is an influencer.
Yeah, it's a low barrier to entry, relatively, right?
No, there's like, if you got a couple, you got a social media account and you want to put some time in it to grow it, you can become an influencer.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually amazing because now everybody can make some fucking money. It's not just the celebrity endorsements.
Yeah.
But B, brands can save money because they don't have to spend as much money to go and promote to people. Now, I'm never going to follow Pepsi on Instagram.
Yeah.
But if I follow a friend and he got a promo deal with Pepsi, and all of a sudden he's at a beach and he's got a Pepsi next to him, I might get thirsty and get a Pepsi. But I'm not going to unfollow him.
Right.
Because he's my homie.
Yeah.
Or someone that I follow for all the other stuff that he does.
And are you cool with that being more transparent and having to disclose that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think I mean, not only is it better that it's transparent. I think it'll just become part of the social media experience. People just need to understand that. I know Instagram tried, and they still do it, but they put the ads in, but I hate those. I don't like sometimes I'm clicking and liking, and I'm like, oh shit, I liked an ad, and I shouldn't have, and then I go back and
I don't think the ads work on Instagram for me, no.
They don't. But if you advertise through an influencer on a platform like Instagram, they're much more effective. So obviously Instagram realized that people were probably doing that, so then they do that little paid partnership with blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
And then they have their algorithm rigged. As soon as that tag is in, they know, the reach is going to be throttled.
Yeah.
So then the influencer who has now signed a deal with someone expected this much reach is probably like, okay, I got paid $100. I better give Instagram 10 or 20 to make sure I get that reach that I said I was going to give to the brand, right? So then that way Instagram's making their money, and you can't bite the hand that feeds you.
Are influencers taking away some of your advertising dollars though? And do you see that as a competitor or not?
They're not competitors. I see them as colleagues.
Yeah.
We can work with them.
Yeah.
There's so much money out there that, work with an influencer or work with us.
The pie is big enough.
Yeah, the pie is so big, or work with the influencer and work with us so that the influencer posts on their channel, and they also post. We use that photo that's already created and everything's done on our channel, and then now you're able to amplify it again.
And they're different pieces of content, right? I mean, the influencer marketing advertising style is very niche. You really know what that audience is, and whereas somebody who's going to be advertising with you might know the audience, but it's going to probably be more general, right?
It's more general, a little bit more broad. I mean, you can go in and really fine tune it, but it just depends on the product offering, right?
So where is Daily Hive going next? So where can you expand? You've grown from Vancouver only. What's happening to news, full service publication across the country? What's next?
America.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're really.
You say that with confidence.
Yeah. I say it with confidence because this is already in the process.
Yeah.
We're just looking at all the stuff that we need to do. We're looking at how much money do we got, you know, how much is it going to take to get into that market.
And is there a void there for something like that?
There is a void in certain markets. There's certain markets that are saturated, right? But even when we went into Toronto, we knew it was a saturated market. It's the media mecca of Canada.
Right.
And everybody and their mom has a blog on there, right? So we knew it was a saturated market, but we were able to make a significant dent and knock out some established players. And I was like, if we can do it in that market, there's no market where I don't think we can compete. Does that mean we're number one in every market? Probably not. Realistically, I want to be number one in every market, but it's not going to happen. And I'm not an idiot to think that. But if I can compete and hold our own, we're good. Yeah. And so America should not be no different than going into Toronto.
And when you go into those markets, like when you went into Eastern Canada, you guys are pretty lean, right? Like you operate still like a startup and like you did in the basement, right? And that probably helps you survive a little bit when you do expand.
Our budget was so minimal when we started there. And going into our new markets in America, the budgets will still be bootstrapped. We may have a little bit more money to play with, but even then, our mentality's always been is we're a startup. Yeah. And we want to keep that energy going because that energy allows us to be efficient and effective with less resources. Yeah. There's a burnout level, obviously.
For sure.
Now we've, had to kind of go through peaks and troughs, and I'm getting older, so my energy's not. Yeah, so the energy isn't the same, but I still go at it like I wake up every day like I just started this business.
Do you pinch yourself a little bit, like you've done this big thing, you've taken out some big players, and you've become the big player, and then now you've got people trying to be like you. Is it you believe it? Did you ever want this?
I never grew up wanting this.
Yeah.
This is not what I did. I'm a certified professional accountant by trade, and I still go to these classes so I can maintain those 3 letters behind my name. I don't know why. I never I'm never going to go back into that world. But I just felt like I went to school for that. I might as well keep it. But there was times where I didn't really. The journey of growing it is so much more fun than actually like when we launched Daily Hive and we were in these markets. People were like, you should be having fun and celebrating. I was like, I'm actually kind of sad because everything leading up to it was so much fun.
Gotta get back to work, right?
Right? And now that we've accomplished this, I'm like kind of like, what's next? I should celebrate the moment more, that moment and the achievements more. My wife always says that.
Yeah. You should read The Happiness Equation. It's a good book that talks exactly about that.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's not that I'm happy.
Oh no, for sure. But it talks about what's going on in your head and why you're doing that. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, but I feel like if I'm in my head, I think like, if I think I've made it, I might step off the gas pedal a little.
Yeah, and you still got a lot of time left.
I have way too many cities to go into. Before I can step off that gas pedal. I got 20, 30 years still to go.
And then you got to cross the Atlantic too. So.
Yeah, I want to go into Europe and go the other side, across the Pacific too, right?
Yeah.
And forge some relationships in Asia. So there's too much to still get into in my head. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, good job so far. It's been awesome talking to you. And
man, thank you.
Looking forward to seeing where you go next. Pleasure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.